All right, moving on to item number 13, classification changes to positions within the Information Technology Division. Mr. Devin Barber, our IT manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council. Before you is a recommendation to authorize the Director of Finance to do three things. Add a new classification of Senior IT Analyst, reclassify the existing IT Analyst and IT Supervisor positions to the classification of Senior IT Analyst, and to amend the salary schedule as appropriate for these reclassifications and salary increases. The background on this, the IT division is comprised of 5 employees, and up until October of last year, when I lost an employee to a promotional opportunity to another agency, we hadn't seen any employee turnover in many years. Prior to going out for an IT recruitment, staff felt it would be important to look at the staffing and the positions in the division and make sure that we were positioned for both today and the future needs of the city. They reached out and hired Bryce Consulting as a consultant to do that study. The consultant interviewed staff members and looked at the data in context of the IT functions. They also completed a compensation survey of our relevant cities in our segment, if you will. The report is part of your council packet this evening, but their significant findings were that the size of the existing IT staff is similar to that of other organizations in our market. The IT position of IT supervisor and IT analyst currently are working at the same level in different functions within the IT operations, and their most appropriate classification would be a new advanced journeyman level position, which is that senior IT analyst position. The IT technicians are working in the appropriate positions appropriate for the duties that they are performing, and that the IT technician salary needs to be adjusted by 7.75%. Couple things. While Bryce was out finding this out, they also wrote a job description for the senior IT analyst. And what they found was that that position typically out in the market is an exempt position. And so this, as proposed before you, is the IT senior analyst being an exempt position. As such, they would be, in lieu of overtime, they would get a 80-hour admin compensation. So, and the other thing is that this is more of staff level. Since the increase for the IT analyst to the senior IT analyst is quite large, or large enough to warrant maybe breaking that up into 2 chunks. The recommendation for the staff is that the first increment be a 10% bump, and the second one be the remaining amount as the new fiscal year begins in July. And with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
And Devin, before we open this up to the public, your staff, it's a staff of 5 in IT, but you were augmented by on-site staff at the police department and the fire department previously. Am I correct? To some degree. Correct.
We had a sergeant, a longstanding sergeant at the police department that had been there for, well, since he'd been a reserve actually. And over the years, he had assumed more and more administrative functions for the CAD RMS system the police department depends upon. He retired 3 years ago, and we've added that burden to the existing workload that we had. We recently lost our battalion chief to a promotional opportunity. He's now an assistant chief up north. He was a longtime Spillman CAD support person for us as well. So we're trying to, as everyone else in the department and in the city for that matter, we're trying to do more with less to get the work done.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we have a speaker. I'm sorry.
Afterward.
Okay. Pat Miller would like to speak on this item.
Yes, first I have a question. What the total cost is for these positions, including benefits? I know I have the salary increases, but it doesn't list the benefits. So That's a big issue. And then a couple of comments. It seems as though the city salaries have increased, and we just came off of furloughs and holding the budget, and came off of furloughs, but yet we continually reevaluate positions and increase the salaries. And, you know, we certainly, the taxpayers organization certainly wants the employees of the city to have a fair salary. But we also are concerned about the CalPERS, the pension debt. The city of Yuba City owes for over $49 million to CalPERS and a pension debt. And we feel that you probably need to really look at these positions and hold the line until we can get that debt paid down. The other thing on this particular one is that one of the reclassification includes 17% salary boost, and that is extremely questionable. You know, I'll take the job, give me 17%. And some of you young folks out there, you might want to shadow in information technology because they are paid very well. So if you could answer the question on including the benefits, appreciate it.
We'll get those, and as they're gathering that information up, the city of Yuba City has taken a position where we try to stay in a competitive salary range, and that range is to the negative of 5% of median, and rarely ever see the 5%, the other swing side of that, and that's 5% above median. If we can achieve and get to the 5% below, that leaves us in a competitive market in which to recruit individuals into the various positions that are required to be filled with a high caliber person. As we went into the recession, the city of Yuba City had about 325 employees. Currently, and I have to take my shoes off to count to this, but we're at about 294. We've leaned the personnel down. In fact, so lean at one point that we seriously didn't have enough police officers out there to do all of the functions that the police department is tasked with. And that would be, we cut some of the things like traffic and some of the other components out of the police department. But that's also fallen across all of the employee groups. So I do know that the IT unit as it is, with the loss of the sergeant and the battalion chief, are tasked with a much greater responsibility keeping this system up and viable to be able to run police services, the fire service, dispatching, everything else that goes on, plus keeping the citizens informed and all of the other components that go through our IT division, to include getting police cars on site in an efficient manner through our GIS mapping systems and everything else that go on. They have quite a task out in front of them. So I think to answer some of those, it was the total cost with benefits was the primary one.
Right, that's correct. The staff report does indicate that the total there includes both salary and benefits. It doesn't give the breakdown between the portion of salary versus the portion of benefits, but that cost was all inclusive, including all the benefits, including PERS.
Thank you.
To the mayor.
Okay.
And also, Devin, didn't we also have another technician who left recently? So we're actually down one position too?
Well, we're down one IT technician who left to go for the promotional opportunity, and so that's the full-time staff member I'm currently missing.
Right.
So
we're down people also. So this still, if you look at the real numbers, we're probably still less than what we were with that individual here.
yes.
And I might add, it was important for me as the department head to try to get this before council and seek your approval, because the market does indicate we need salary adjustments. And as Pat indicated, it is pretty significant, particularly for one individual. But that said, I want to make sure that we can attract and hire the most qualified candidates, which is hard to do when we're significantly below market, in addition to the 5% that we plan to stay below market. So I'd like to get a recruitment started for these as well, but want to advertise it at the highest market rate possible for given our demographics.
Okay. Pat, looks like you have some more questions.
Yeah, in reading the staff report, it lists proposed title, current salary for the IT supervisor, $83,761, and the proposed salary is $89,220, which does not include the benefits, the CalPERS. Senior, there's another IT analyst that is currently getting $76,148 and will be getting $89,220, and that's the one with the 17% increase. And there are 2 Tech 2s that will currently make $63,606 and will be making $68,532, 7.75% increase. So youngsters, listen to those salaries and go to school. Go to school.
Mr. Mayor, not to belabor it, I'd like to thank Devin for doing the presentation tonight, but just to clarify, the city manager's office is usually the office that says no when people come down and ask for things when it comes to financial matters. You've got an average tenure in your IT department. It ranges anywhere between 15 and 25 years. And Mr. Barber, maybe you've been here longer than 25.
I'm working on 28.
28. Okay, so 15 to 28 years. Those are the 4 people that were referenced. High quality individuals, work very hard for the city. I couldn't agree with Pat Miller more. Do go and get an IT job, because these jobs are, from a supply and demand standpoint, high in demand. We do need to compensate them well to keep them here and recognize the good work that they do. So this analysis, you'll see that the report was done under the oversight of the city manager's office, and of course it wouldn't be before you tonight if it didn't have 100% support of that office as well. Thank you.
And I just want to make one comment, being a prior full-time employee of the city, not a full-time employee of the city as an elected person. But I know Devin's staff is in the past and currently as need to upgrade systems and things like that occur. This is not a staff that takes that job lightly and shuts the city down for a day. They come in the middle of the night when there is no one except for the cleaning crews at City Hall, and they start upgrading systems, and they try to make it with as least amount of impact, and that includes both police and fire. Any of those upgrades, and making sure that communication is always being carried through, from our fire engines to our police cars back into our dispatch centers. Here at City Hall, the flow of information continues even during upgrade systems, and that's just the excellent staff that we have that does that, and again, they go out of their way to make sure that happens for us.
Through the mayor.
Go ahead.
Just a point of clarification. That means I think Devin started when he was 12 years old with the city. But anyhow, I would like to recommend that we approve this item, both A and B, and vote on this.
I'll open it for discussion after.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just did some simple math using the numbers on the front under fiscal impact. And the second page are summary of recommended position changes on the 17% increase, and the increase in benefit package, when you do the math, is $4,502 a year by just taking the numbers that are on here and extrapolating. So simple math right there.
Simple math is hard at it tonight.
This is why he sits
Numbers are important.
This is why he sits right here and scribbles this stuff down in front of me. So. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, Devin. And